Hi everyone, this is just a quick introductory video on how to get started in Google Classroom. This is if you want to get started before our training, or if you miss our training for any reason, or if you just need a quick refresher. First thing you want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and go to Google. If you're using a Chromebook, all you have to do is click the button at the bottom to open up Chrome, and it will automatically take you to a Google window. You should be logged in already. You should see your little icon up here. Mine's got my face on it. And all you want to do is click these 9 dots and then click Classroom. Now I'm going to go over the other applications that you can see here as well. You see that there are quite a few of them. Some we may not use at all. Some I use all the time. So I think that there are some really important ones here, especially Drive, for instance. But first thing you want to do is hit Classroom, and that will take you to Google Classroom. If you have never had a Google Classroom set up before, your page will look like this. Or if you have, and you archived your class will look like this as well. And if you want to see your archived classes, you can go over here. You can see I've got mine here. I've got one this is the one I did last school year. This was Mrs. Young's class, and then this is one I started for this year. But either way, if they are archived, and again, I recommend doing so, then you will not see any class here. Now, to get started, you want to go over here to this plus symbol right here. We're going to start one just to make this a little easier here. So go ahead and click that, and then hit Create Class. And then you're going to end up with this screen right here. And you're going to want to go ahead and name your class. We'll do that here. You don't have to put a section in there. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. You don't want to get too confusing on here. Now, you can put a subject, but as I'll discuss, I don't recommend doing different classes for each subject, only because it makes it a little bit more difficult for your students to log in. It is a preference. If you'd like your students to go to multiple different classes for each subject, then that, of course, is up to you. But I prefer to have all subjects in one place so that they can access everything in one place. There's a good amount of research out there that shows that the fewer clicks, the better, especially with our students. So I will show you what I mean by that, but I'm just going to go ahead and write. Let's see, math, ELA, reading, social studies, and science. And you don't really need a room here. I'll just put the one that I have on campus. Then you go ahead and hit create. And then it should look something like this. Now, on this page, of course, there are a number of different things going on. There's a class code right here, and you can use that class code to send individual emails to your students to invite them. You also may want to keep it just in case you need to have it for any students who come in late, should that occur, or if you want to invite somebody else to view your class, that type of thing. So that's something you'll need. The Google Meet link can be generated right here as well. We'll go into that a little bit further later. But at this point, your students can't see it until you actually generate a link. And then that will actually be visible right here for students to click on. Now, when I use Google Meet, I only make that visible right before the meeting starts. Otherwise, students log in and they can't actually do anything until you're there. So, yeah, so there's that. Now, you can select a theme. It's up to you what you want to do here. I always create my own, and again, that's a personal preference. You may like something that you see in one of these areas, and it is certainly easier to do it that way. I tend to upload, and I'm going to upload it from my computer, but I have also put it on my Drive, and we'll talk a little bit more about Google Drive in a minute, because that's sort of that's kind of the brain of everything that you're doing. It's where you're going to store everything. And it's also where your students store everything on their Chromebook. So it is where you're going to have everything that you need for your class in the future. So, or ideally. Now, if you do decide to do this, I just use a couple different programs to make these images. This particular one isn't perfect, but it is something that I like to create to make my classes a little more personal. So I'm gonna take one of those now. Be aware, and you'll see here when I do this that there are some limitations. The image size is rather constrained, so it kind of depends on how you want it to look, what you want to do. I probably could have done a better job of actually sizing my image before putting it in here, but regardless, it'll work. I'll actually probably end up doing it a little bit like this because there tends to be some information on the left hand side that's a little easier to read. If the image doesn't cover that portion. So we'll just go ahead and put that up in here. It'll show up in our background. I will probably end up changing this one a little bit here. I've already made a quick alteration if you've noticed, but this just gives us an idea of what you can do in terms of the appearance, at least of the header for your class. So in our the next few videos that I'll put up here in the next few days, I will go over how to put in announcements, how to organize your front page. There are some options. I'm always going to be an advocate for simplicity here, so you'll hear me talk about that, but I'll also go over how to put in assignments, grading, and all of those types of things. Of course, we'll start with inviting your students as well. Okay, if you have any questions, just let me know.